Hey y'all, so where the heck have I been? I've just been busy working, not really finding time to do a lot of recording, and ultimately I just kind of decided recently that I want to get back into recording on a more steady schedule. I don't know what that's going to look like for me. I'll say over the next few months, because there's still some things that are going on that I have to kind of deal with. But I also know that, in order for me to really get this channel moving, I have to be at a certain record space, right, for YouTube algorithms. So for myself, I haven't really figured out what that looks like yet. I'm well aware that, 3 videos a week is probably the minimum for me to for this to really be worth it, in terms of like views and stuff. But sometimes you just gotta be realistic with yourself too about what you can and can't do. And I know that I will have some time probably in like the next month or so, because I'm actually getting ready to have like surgery again for something else, and that's going to require me to be off work for about like 4 weeks or so. So I will have that time to just kind of like do what it is that I need to do for me. Oh, girl, what are you doing? And then that will also help me kind of get out ahead of like some of the content and be able to create. But ultimately, I'm hoping that by the time 2022 gets here, which is not a long way away, I'll have a pretty steady idea of what I want to do with the channel, what that will look like on a weekly basis as far as like content production, the type of content. I definitely know I want to move into more of the lifestyle stuff. Lifestyle has been a category on my channel since I've started it, but I know that I haven't really dove into that content at all. I think I've done like minor like beauty and skincare stuff, but even still, like even though lifestyle kind of encompasses all of that, just kind of being able to have a more realistic look inside of like my day-to-day, things that I do regularly and some things that I just don't do regularly, right? Which is a lot. I spend a lot of my time working, so that's a lot of stuff. But there are some things that I ventured out and started to do, and I think as I get more assimilated, I'm not gonna say acclimated to my environment, because I think I'm acclimated at this point. Like, it's been a year since we've moved, but I think more assimilated. So, and when I say that, is being able to find the things that I like to do and incorporate them into my regular routines, as opposed to like being on the search always, for something, because I'm not really familiar or as familiar with here as I am like with back home. So I think those are some of the things that have really kind of hindered my ability to get out and do a lot. But as we've been exploring a little bit more, we're learning the landscape, we're venturing out a little bit more, because I'm one of the type of people where it's like, if I don't know an area, I have to do some research first, right, before I go venturing out anywhere, because your good sis is not trying to venture into places that, one, she don't want to be, or two, can't make it out of. And I'm really big on that, especially being where I'm from, because you end up in the wrong hood. Like, even if you aren't somebody that is like out there, you mind your business, like shit, you just don't want to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And that's just kind of like the mentality I have being where I'm from, because bad things happen when you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, and or when you're in the wrong hoods. So I just don't kind of have time for that. And of course, because of where I am, different kind of landscape. So I think the equivalent of what I would worry about in the city is kind of like the opposite, right? Because being black wasn't an issue in the city. Some parts of the country, you already know how that go. So I just don't want to be in places that, like I said, you know, you ain't welcome or you can't fucking make it out of. You gotta be worrying about that stuff. Oh no, I should have put, I need to wrap this towel around me. I messed up my shirt and I'm wearing, this is the shirt that I'm wearing today. So yeah, but I think as we approach like the new year, definitely getting more comfortable with where we are, traveling a little bit further distances, and you know, definitely in a place where we can and are ready to explore some more stuff. So I think there's going to be a lot more content in terms of like the lifestyle side that I'll be able to bring. For me, I just have to get back into the groove of recording and feeling comfortable vlogging. Vlogging takes a different level of comfort, y'all. And like, I think in the city, I was, you know, it didn't bother me as much because like I said, you know, you're not the kind of like oddball out or anything like that. Plus, people in New York are curious. Like, they like stuff like that. They'll be like, oh, you vlogging? They'll jump in your vlog. It's like, what you vlogging about? They're curious individuals, and we're used to seeing shit that you probably just wouldn't see anywhere else. Out here, I think, you know, even though I know people vlog everywhere, I think it takes, you know, a different kind of curiosity. I'll say that. To where people be like looking at you a little strange, like, what are you doing? So I don't know, you know, it definitely is a different level of comfort. I also am, you know, the minority here, I'll say that. So, you know, you just don't want to be in the wrong places, or yeah, in the wrong places doing things that they aren't accustomed to, particularly when you're not the majority. So I'm not really doing anything special to my hair. Truthfully, I want to do a twist out, which will last a little bit longer. Just with the space that I'm in right now, I don't get to do my hair as much because my hair is typically covered, and I'll have on some sort of like visor or something. But that's like, so it just like, for washing goes, it's really not conducive to like maintaining a wash and go without it starting to look crazy after like 2 days. Especially because I haven't been like adding the moisture into my hair the way I really should, and part of that is because I don't want to have wet hair or even damp hair just glued to my damn scalp for 8 hours a day. So I haven't been doing that kind of stuff. If you notice, like, I cut my hair, and part of the reason I cut my hair was because wearing like the hats and that kind of stuff, just kind of like not doing my hair the way I would usually do it, my hair was toe up from the flow up, and I was like, I thought cutting it would be like the solution. And I mean cutting it, not trimming it. I thought that would be the solution, but I'm kind of regretting that decision a little bit now. I hope this come off my shirt because this is my outside shirt that I need to wear. I'm putting on a shirt over it, but still, nobody needs to see white speckles coming through my sheer shirt thinking I didn't put on clean clothes. So yeah, I kind of regretted it, and I will say my hair has grown back some, so it's not like the end of the world either. But you know, just with the time, energy that it took to get my hair to grow as long as it did, you know, for all the work and just sheer taking care of my hair, for me to go from doing that and then to not really taking care of that at all, and then allowing like another part of my life to affect something that was like important to me. You know, that hair journey was super important to me, and it is a big deal, you know, because that was a growth journey that I was on. And I just feel like when I had to cut my hair off, like I had cut off something that had significant meaning for a certain place where I was in my life. And it was one of the things, the few things in that place that had given me joy and something that I was like looking forward to doing. So the fact that like all of that went out the window, You know, it's a little frustrating for me. And even in doing my hair now, you know, it was initially, I thought it would be like easier, which for a very short while it was. But, and I say easier because I was kind of just doing my hair in one single batch instead of like having to put it in sections, because it just wasn't like, my hair wasn't that long, wasn't as much hair. But then I found that my hair was still like getting super tangled, and it just wasn't like the moisture wasn't getting through the way it typically would. So I decided to just go back to like my old system, which was working, which is, you know, doing my hair in sections, making sure I detangle really well. And I've even changed some of the tools that I've been using. So maybe I'll make a video about that some point in the future, just to kind of talk about the tools that I've changed from, even though some of them I kind of swore by, you know, in the last, like over the last year, because I feel like they were like pulling out my hair, and or just for the way my hair tangles, they probably just weren't the best tools for me to be using. So I'll do something about like that, probably coming in like the next month or two. But yeah, so I went through it with my hair for a little bit, and you know, I just kind of decided recently, and it's going to be challenging because I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I'd be exhausted. I'd be exhausted coming home from work, and you know, just trying to muster up the energy to do hair after all of that is not always the easiest thing to do, not always the most desirable thing. So I have to find some sort of groove to be able to get back into it, so that I can make sure my hair is taken care of and that it's thriving. And then of course, so I have content to bring you guys. Can't be out here trying to bring content with shitty strands. Like, that's not that's not the assignment. Like, that's just not the assignment. So we're not going to do that. But ultimately, I am excited about even just being in front of the camera. You know, this is an outlet. It is a creative outlet for me, which I don't consider myself to really be a creative. So having like creative outlets are important, and you know, things that foster creativity in you, that, you know, inspire you to do things that are also going to, I don't know, create curiosity, allow you to grow in ways that you typically wouldn't grow from like natural personality aspect. And being of artistic nature is not really my thing. So this is kind of one of the forms of creativity that I have that allows me to venture into a space that I wouldn't naturally venture into as an individual. That hair is moisturized. So I definitely want to get back into that for that reason. But outside of that, I mean, I've not been doing a lot. Like, work has really consumed quite a bit of my time. I was on like a time limited assignment for like the last 2 months, and you know, I went in really well, balancing my time, and then shit just got crazy. And I found myself working like 10, 11, 12, sometimes 13-hour days. And I was like, oh, this is not what I signed up for. This is not what I signed up for. I was like, we are not doing this. Like, this cannot be a long-term thing for anybody, not for me. It shouldn't be for anybody, because that's just, where's the work-life balance? Like, when I signed up for work-life balance. So, you know, that piece was just like, yeah, nah, I can't do that. The assignment is coming to an end. So I'm actually on vacation right now while I'm shooting this video. And when I go back, the assignment will officially be over. So I'll be back in like my normal role. But I was like, I'm at the point where I'm just like considering ways that I can really focus that work-life balance and make that a priority for me. And I don't know what that looks like. Maybe it looks like working less hours. Maybe it looks like, you know, working 5 days a week some weeks, 4 days a week the other weeks, and alternating that way, so I can have like extra days where I can actually contribute to, you know, my crafts and other things that I would like to work on outside of working for a corporation. So that's something I've been thinking long and hard about on my vacation this week. You know, I should have a solid like idea when I go back to work in a few days, you know, what that looks like for me and what I'm gonna ask for in order to make those things happen. And I'm just kind of at a place, like I said, you know, peace, work-life balance are probably the most important things to me. Great mental health, you know, not being stressed out, so we can all like an umbrella that under peace. And everything else is just not worth it, you know. And that's honestly how I feel. Everything else not worth it. If it's causing you strife, if it's causing you pain, and you're over 35, friend, still let it go. Let it go, because guess what? The ones that send you to an early grave, they ain't gonna be thinking about you when you're gone. So don't even give it to them. Not even worth it. I'm kind of curious to see and interested to see how this wash and go dries. I've not done a wash and go in probably close to, well, I haven't been doing steady wash and goes. I have done a wash and go because at one point that was kind of all I could do. But I haven't been doing them. Like, my hair is not wash and go trained at the moment. So I don't know what this is about to look like when it dries, for real. But it seems like my hair is doing pretty okay for the moment, which is not a bad thing, all things considered. It is time for me to do a trim though. So I had actually already put like leave-in in my hair. I wash my hair with different products that I'm using to actually style with. And part of the reason for that is like when I was going to do my hair originally, I fully intended to do a twist out. So that would have warranted like sitting down and, you know, being comfortable and doing all that good stuff. Not to say I'm not doing that right now, but I left my deep conditioner in for like 2 days because I was being lazy. And then when I went to rinse my hair, I was like, dang, we actually have to go out today. So to do a twist out, it would have needed time to actually dry. Like, even though the wash and go needs time to dry, I can actually just wear it, you know, like right then. So I decided to do a wash and go. And the product that, like the leave-in that goes with the product line that I used, it's a spray leave-in, and I just didn't feel like haggling with a spray leave-in in an attempt to do a wash and go. So I was like, all right, we're not going to do that today. So I went ahead and switched over to like the Blueberry Bliss leave-in, and I put that in while I was in the shower. So now I'm just adding an extra layer of moisture with the hair milk before I add the gel, because what I have found is while that leave-in, you know, it is moisturizing for a leave-in, it's not enough for my strands to really hold up moisture under a gel. Like, the hair milk will actually work for me on its own, but I figured it would be a great like double layer of moisture. So this should last like a good few days. My hair should feel pretty nice. It seems like it's gonna set really nicely, which is cool too. I'm surprised that my hair is actually behaving this way, but it was a really good washing day, and probably surprising to all, the wash products that I use with the Shea Moisture, what is that? The Manuka Honey and Yogurt Hydrate and Repair, and those products actually work really well in my hair. I like to use them as it gets like towards the cooler months. I don't know, like I'll be honest, like I've not really gravitated towards using them in the winter months, but they do work really well, like in keeping my hair hydrated when the weather starts to get drier. So even though it's not dry here, it tends to be pretty humid. I was like, oh, we're right on the cusp of fall. It is getting a little cooler, so let me go ahead and use those. Plus, I was like, it's a good protein moisture balance line, which is probably why I'm getting the definition that I'm getting now too, because sometimes like proteins can be a little bit harsh on my hair to the point that it just shrinks up, and there's like, it looks like I have zero curls in my head. My hair will just be shriveled to my scalp, and that's not what we're going for. So this one gives like a good, like my hair is hydrated, which is great, but also is giving like pretty good definition. And that's considering that my hair is not wash and go trained, you know, at this particular moment. So we gonna see what it look like, what she doing. Did she understand the assignment, or is she just not going to give what she's supposed to be giving? But yeah, so I'm looking to get into some other things. I'm actually a part of a pool league now, which is pretty cool. I like to play pool. By no means am I like an expert player for pool, like pool league status, but they do have placements for, you know, everyone in the league, like beginner, intermediate, advanced. And when you're playing, like depending on the league that you're playing in, you know, you have to have a mixed skill set in order for you to not get disqualified from the actual tournament, or from the match rather, for that particular day. So we each have a skill level, and that skill level number can't go over a certain number, otherwise you'll automatically get disqualified for the day. So you do have to have different tiers of players on your team, which is fine for me. I'm learning how to play the game their way, not apparently the hood way that I've been playing all these years. So that's pretty cool to like learn the rules. I'm learning about some of the other leagues as I'm like meeting more people that are playing, and they play in different leagues. So when they start talking about their league, in order for me to understand like what the heck they talk about, I go and do my research. And you know, I've kind of learned a few, like some of the differences between like the league I'm playing in and some of the other leagues that exist. So that's one of the things that I'm into. I have matches weekly. The seasons, like there are different seasons, and I think maybe in between the seasons there might be like 2 or 3 weeks off. It's super cheap to play, like to get your number and stuff for the year. It's like $25, which is like nothing. So that's pretty like nice to be able to do that and participate for just like a small amount. And then we do have to pay for our games weekly, and then you have to pay to actually play the game too. So meaning use the pool table. So it's still pretty inexpensive, but it does cost like on a weekly basis, and I enjoy that. Looking to get back active pretty soon in some of like my other social stuff that I have going on, and I'll talk more about that when it actually takes place. I don't want to talk about something that I'm not actually doing, even though sometimes you have good intentions, like you end up just not doing it, as we saw with posting. So I don't want to talk too much about what I'm going to do. I'd rather just do it and talk about it as it's being done or once it's done. But yeah, and then I'm looking for, at some point, want to practice like bowling, I think, and it won't be this year, but I've considered joining like a bowling league. I feel like with that though, I have to get a lot better before I do that. I don't know if they have, I think they do have beginner leagues though. So maybe I will like look to get into that, because that's something I've always wanted to do. For a long time I've wanted to do that. And I have quite a few family members that are really good at bowling, and like some are in leagues. So it is something that like is not necessarily new to me, but I just have not ever bowled well enough to be in a league. At least that's what I thought. That's what I thought. So this is like one of my old faithful combinations, y'all. This is like early in the game when I wasn't like, I didn't have a lot of products. When I first discovered Wetline, and I was like, I would always use like the Blueberry Bliss hair milk and then the Wetline gel, and that would give me like a really, really good wash and go with good moisture that will last like a good few days. It never flaked on me, so I'm hoping that like the combination of like the hair milk and the leave-in does not make it flake, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. It is so cloudy here, and I'm like, why is it cloudy? We're supposed to be going on a sunset cruise today, and I'm just like, I checked the weather before I booked the cruise yesterday, and it was like, oh, it's gonna be sunny. Get to today, cloud cover 100. So it's just like, well, what's gonna happen with this cruise? Like, we still have to go, and I guess like if they determine that, you know, the cruise is not gonna sail, then you get to reschedule, which is cool. But in order for them to not like coin you as not showing up, you have to actually show up first. So I don't know what's going on with this weather here. It's like, it's looking like fall going into winter right now. Instead of summer going into fall. Don't get shady, don't get shady. Baby dress. Babe. 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 I know y'all probably wondering why I'm not adding no water. My hair is actually saturated enough for me to not have to add water. It's also still warm, which is why the product is able to absorb. If my hair wasn't still warm, I definitely would need water. So I'm pretty okay. Like, it's running out of warmth in some places, but for the most part, it's pretty okay for me to continue styling without adding any additional water. Plus, I don't want my hair to be just like dripping wet. Like, that's not what I would like going out, because I'm not gonna have time to like dry my hair before I actually leave the house. So when I come back, depending on how dry it is, I probably dry it like the rest of the way. But yeah, this is making sure, I'm trying to like make sure these strands are coated. My hair feels good though. That leave-in actually left a pretty good layer of moisture in. Well, where did he go? Definitely time to trim my hair because my hair is a little frizzy here. A little frizzier than normal. And the wet line can't even put it down, so I know it's time for a trim. But yeah, so tell me like in the comments what y'all have been up to, because clearly your girl has been MIA and she gonna get back. But sometimes like you just get to a point in life where you just gotta figure some stuff out and figure out what in that moment is going to be the best use of your time. And you know, for a minute for me it just wasn't YouTube. And now I'm like ready to kind of get back in and make sure that like I'm in a place where I can do this consistently and as permanently as possible. You know, I say permanently as possible because we don't know that YouTube is going to be a thing. I don't know that I want to be a YouTuber, you know, in my old age. But so I say as permanently as possible for right now, to where you guys can expect consistent content. You know, like I'm enjoying what I'm doing. It's not a chore. And also like I'm not, you know, just dead tired every day trying to like do everything that falls under my responsibility list right now. So tell me what y'all have been up to. Tell me what journey 2021 has taken you on. What's new and exciting for you. What did you feel like you could have left in 2020 if you didn't leave it there? You know, what are you looking forward to for 2022? How are you going to be better? You know, how are you going to be different? You know, what didn't work and, you know, why? What was your ownership stake in that? You know, how are you holding yourself accountable for the end of 2021 going into 2022? And you know, what are some of the things that you know you're doing to put yourself first in the coming year? Like I said, I've been picking up things that you know I want leisurely. Like I'm trying to do more things that make me happy, regardless of what that means, you know. And I say regardless of what that means, like, you know, regardless of what anybody thinks, regardless of, girl, not me putting on the daggone cleaning shirt. Oh, I got bleach stains on it. All right, but I'm gonna go ahead and change this. Yeah, you know, what are you doing for you to put yourself first in 2022, mental health wise, spiritually, emotionally, whatever that may look like for you. And just let me know what's going on down in the comments. So I was gonna do like some makeup, but makeup takes me forever to do, so I think I'm just gonna end it here and drop my hair so I could go ahead and get out the house, and then we'll worry about looking glam on Saturday because you know today's Friday, it's cloudy. I mean, makeup would probably bring some sunlight to the party, but I gotta go. So I don't think I'm gonna have time for that today, but I'm glad I got to sit down and chat with y'all. Let me know what y'all think of this wash and go. Like, I know it's not dry, but I think considering that my hair is not wash and go trained, it actually looks really good. And this is why I go back to the Old Faithful products all the time. So even though I try stuff out, there are definitely some combos that like kill the game for me regardless of what is going on with my hair. And I will tell you that the Blueberry Bliss hair milk and wet line is one of them. So thank you guys for watching this video. I will see you in the next one. Talk to you soon. Bye.